Hello, everybody. I am Sweet Pea.
And I'm Pretty Bird.
Together, we are Pretty Sweet. Welcome to Pretty Sweet Distractions, where we speak unfiltered about life, love, poetry, and prowess. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the distractions in the form of open discussion on artful words. Of course, with all of this, we have to have our rules. We are grown up people talking about grown up things using grown up words. If you're easily offended, this may not be your bouncing tea bag, cup of tea, or whatever floats your boat. We like to have fun, poke fun, and generally have a great time. If you're down to be distracted, come hang out, chat, call, like, follow, share. Leave your opinions on our opinions. Click all the hearts and show us some love. We have live streams every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And tonight is all about emotional echoes. When someone touches your life in a very real way, no matter how small, it lingers. We might not even notice at the time, but years later, those emotional echoes surface as they cross our minds. So you could be just doing something normal, like washing your dishes or vacuuming a room, and all of a sudden, these memories come flooding back. Like, oh, wow, I remember when I was washing my dishes here and I was having a conversation there. Like, I used to wash my dishes and always be on the phone with one of my best friends, and we would talk the entire time. And sometimes even now, I'm like, oh, I should call her. But I know she's very busy now. She's got the grandkids, she's got all of that. So I don't. But I remember the times every single time we would call, we'd always be on the phone. So that comes back to me. Or when I'm doing laundry and I can hear my mother's voice in my head, which is not always pleasant, but there she is. She's talking to me about, are those socks wide enough? Did you separate things correctly? So there's always these echoes of things in my head, of people. Sometimes they're very kind and sometimes they're not, but they always seem to be there. You know, some of my favorite echoes are if I'm reading and I can feel my grandmother just around me because she was the one that read me stories, or she's the one that introduced me to the books. She's the one that, kept me interested. I'm very blessed now because I have her journals when she was a small child. So I get to go back and I get to read some of those things when she was very young and she wrote of being dropped off in an orphanage during the Depression and missing her brothers. I get to read about when she was married and my grandfather had left her and my father was she was raising my father alone, and this was in the early, late 30s, early 40s through the 50s. But she writes about the war ending and my father celebrating on the streets, and I get to think about all of that. Now those aren't my personal echoes, but I can imagine my grandma being that, so I get to think about her and talking about that. And memories I have of my family. Just if I'm going on vacation, I get to think of, you know, how my brother and I got to laugh and, be with him. And so many things can hit me at the oddest times. And sometimes they're very well connected, and sometimes they're just random. And they can bring me to tears, or they can make me laugh, or they can literally make me angry. Like, why the hell did that happen? Why? What? Why me? And I think they're shadows. Sometimes you're in a room and you can see something on the corner of your eye, and you're back in that place. You're back where maybe you're back as a child, or you're back as an adult, or you're back with somebody that you haven't thought about in a very long time, because things echo back to us. Things don't ever truly leave us. I really believe that people don't ever truly leave us, that they are an echo in our mind, or their spirits echo back to us. Um, we always feel their presence. Not everybody believes that, but it's just something I personally believe. We can have conversations in our heads that we've had years ago. Oh, God, I remember this, or I remember that. And some people call it a curse, some people call it a blessing. I think it can be both. So, Pretty Bird, what do you feel about that emotional echo when it hits you?
Well, I think that your echoes are nicer than mine. I think that it's all of that, but it's more than that. It is um, the way you fold a dollar bill if you're putting it in your pocket. I fold money the way my aunt used to fold money. I don't fold money the way my father folds money. And it's things that you don't really realize because you do it so long, it's second nature. You don't, it's a logical way to do things. I fold it in half. Yeah, and then I fold it in half again, and then I tuck it in my pocket. Or if I have like a little card wallet, and my father will fold it, in half one way and in half the other way, and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? And but not everybody does everything the same way, and I was like, well, why? And if I think all the way back, because that's how my aunt used to hand me money. She was Because that's how it fit into the peanut butter jar piggy bank that she made me. So you had to fold it that way, and so it would fit. So that's how I've just folded money ever since. And when you think about little things like that,
Tuck it in
you
the
you
G string.
okay, no. And that's where you fold it
Yes.
lengthwise, and I fold it in half shortwise, but okay. And but we're not talking about the thongs. And so it could be anything. Bud actually was messaging me the other day or last week, whenever the heck it was, and he was like, "What's up, dollface?" And I went to when I was 12 years old. And again, same aunt who used to call me dollface. And I didn't know she called me dollface because she would mumble. And so I was like, "Why are you calling me dolphin?" And so she's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Well, um, and ever since then, she like kept on wanting to get me dolphin jewelry. She never actually did because we couldn't agree on one. I was like, well, just buy it because I'll wear it. But so she called me dolphin since I was 12 years old because I misunderstood dollface, and that's not something you think about. But even that, the echoes are the people that you knew that ever taught you a lesson, good or bad. It is that kid in seventh grade that I broke his heart on accident with an angry word, and I've never said things like that in anger without thinking of consequences since I was 11 years old, and he still remembers. And you know I am not 11 years old anymore. And so it shapes who you become, and it hits you in all the weirdest places. But the best of it to me are, when you hear a song and it takes you back to that summer vacation when you were like 17 or whatever, you're hanging out with your friends, or it's the band trip, or it's all of those things that you remember in a song, or the smells of Thanksgiving, where it brings you back to your childhood, or when you think of just some random nonsense that puts you in the best part of a friendship or the best part of a relationship before everything went south, and you can remember the joy for what it was and all the innocence of it before it got tainted. And that needs years removed because it stays tainted a very long time. But when you can get to a point of distance where you haven't thought about it for a while and it drops you in, something triggers you and drops you right in to the good part, you can remember the good part and then walk away before the bad shit weighs you down for the next, 2 weeks or whatever it is. Things linger with me that way too. It is not okay. But yeah, so emotional echoes for me are all of that. And it's also the taint. I know, unfortunate choice of words, but it's not, so I like all the good. Um, but it's the bad things linger. So for anybody who's been listening to the show, we all have our own, traumas, and I have an unfortunate history. So 21 years after said unfortunate history, when I thought I was all kinds of healed up because nothing affects me, I'm not a victim, I'm fine. I had a life, I had kids, I had a husband, all the things, all the things. I am a fully functioning adult. So I'm painting my house. I'm painting my friend's house, like the inside of her house. She's getting ready to sell it, and she said something to me. Might have lost my shit a little bit. And next thing you know, we spend the next 2 hours unpacking all my shit. I'm like, where the hell did this come from? Because sometimes, it's because she had a renter in there and it's a smell of stale cigarettes. And I got issues with certain scents that remind me of certain things. And then I was all antsy. She's like, what the hell's up your ass? And I'm just like, well, let me tell you. And so I told her all the things. She's like, I never would have guessed. I was like, because it's nobody's stinking business. I'm fine, God damn it. And so for those next few hours, I was not fine. And
You
then
thought you were over it.
seriously, and for the most part you get through, you do all this stuff, and you kind of hate yourself for those little bits of memory that come back and yank you out of yourself to the places you don't want to be. And the thing is, when you land in the unfortunateness, I don't know if there's a whole lot of difference between that and then landing in the good, because depending on how deep those hooks run, depends on how long you're out of the present. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I could be all, with this great love and he died and now I'm stuck in that, and then you go through the loving, then you go through the pain, then you go through the missing, and you're mourning them in short, in short form all over again, and that's a few days of present gone. And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If you're missing, your grandma or my mom or whatever it is, it's good things, and it is just now 8 years later able to be like, okay, this is good. You're like, whoo, miss you, mom, and then I immediately have to go and do something that takes brain power, or it could still suck me in because it doesn't change. The loss doesn't change. And distance is the only thing that makes it a little bit easier to jump out of instead of being swallowed whole. But those echoes are what breeds creativity to me, because creativity in any aspect, especially poetry, I'm not biased, it's fine, um, is emotion. It's how we are tethered to those moments, how we can then take it and put it into a painting, into words, into whatever it is that we are pulling from to make something inherently beautiful. And I just find that whole entire process, that whole cathartic process of transformation to be freaking amazing.
Mhm. And Rack, your thoughts on emotional echoes?
Yeah, really. I have a bit of a squirrel brain, so there's constant echoes going on in my brain that I actually have conversations with. So it's tough to sort them out and pretend to be normal. Um, but like everyone, I guess experiences at one point or another, the sense that reminds you of things, or the sounds and the songs and everything, they go round in circles in my brain, and my life, and everything else that surrounds me. I end up blurting them out, sometimes at inappropriate moments, but I'd like to think that that's what endears me to some people, and that's why they keep me around. um, but for the most part, I'm kind of an open book when it comes to stuff like that. Everyone kind of knows what's going on in my head, and has an inkling of where my mind goes. And unfortunately, with the reputation that I have at the same time, um, I can't get away with even making a joke, because even if I'm not doing it intentionally, it's like I get blamed for it. So
Because you're not
but
innocent.
see, see, see. Oh, I lost my innocence years ago. But this is my life, and I'm good with it. It's turned out a few lines of memorable prose for me. It's given me a sense of humor, and a personality, I'd like to think. So here we are.
Well, that's because you like to feel your way through everything. Um, you have feelings. So,
See?
Miss Mary F. and Poppins, would you like to comment? You don't have to, but you can.
I can relate to everything all of you have said, but beyond the fact that the echoes, yes, they hit me randomly. Some negative, my mother, some positive, my father. But I personally am so caught up in the mundane of keeping up running a household literally by myself and meeting the needs of my grandchildren and my daughter and coping with everything. I push my mom right out of my mind. The instant she enters my mind, I just get rid of her because she was such a negative influence. And Sweet Pea, I got to get used to calling you that. I so remember all those phone calls, and I still to this day will be doing dishes in my kitchen and thinking, oh, I missed the time. And then I randomly think about the real telephones in my mind that I hooked into my shoulder while we were talking. And I miss that. I miss those mundane moments where we would call each other, keep in contact while we're doing a mundane chore. Now I fill those mundane chores with my tablet and shows on Netflix or Paramount or whatever. And I probably should reach out more often.
I agree. Yeah, that's a lot. That's crazy. That we, things just bypass in time because of all of the things that, we now have and keeping the house up and doing all of that. It seems like I'm busier now than I was when I had all of that going on, which is crazy to me. But
I'm It's not as mentally exhausting because I don't allow myself to list everything in my mind I have to do. I just do. And I'm accepting of plowing through on a daily basis of what I have to do and forgiving myself for not getting it done.
That's the trick right there.
yeah, forgiving
I
yourself for
mean,
not getting it done.
yeah.
So tonight I did invite Mary F. and Poppins. She's been a friend of mine for a long time, and she did a painting, and I wrote a poem for it. So we are actually going to start with that in our poetry section.
Now, you
And
need to preface this that I did this painting as part of a craft class because I was so damn lonely. I stepped outside my comfort zone, joined a crafting group of women. We now call ourselves the Girl Gang or the Crafters Social Club. I went from literally making a pin that was 4 pieces of felt and a pearl bead to make hot
Flower.
gluing these things together to doing literally a water painting.
yes,
My
which
my skills have come so far, and I shared it with Pam when she was here because I was really damn proud of it. And she wrote a poem about it. That woman amazes me.
Oh, absolutely.
thank you. So I'm going to read this because I've actually done more to that than when I was at in front of you. So I'm just going to
Oh,
read this real quick for you, and
okay.
because it's about our echoes together. So this
Okay.
is Mary Ellen Poppins and the Unicorn Tree by Sweet Pea. When I met her, she believed in unicorns, happy endings, and love. In her hand, she held magic, seeds of purple, green, and blue. I watched as she planted a tree of dreams. For you and me, she whispered. She made our children laugh with patience for understanding. In the midst of chaos, she was calm. Through tears, she was strong. My Mary up in Poppins when I needed to dance. She taught me about the naughty and romance. 4 decades have passed since she planted our tree. We've been close, we've been apart. But there is a place not far from my imagination that holds hands with my past. A tall tree full of unicorn leaves shakes with the laughter of our memories. The roots are strong and the branches sturdy. They've held us both during strife and worry. In its bark, we've carved our names. Within each ring lies our history. From our tears of pain and joy, collecting our wishes and prayers, standing the test of time through friendship and bullshit. Now it grows and waits for our submission to sit under her shade and relax, giggling about our past until the end of our days. And peace.
So I usually have the first comment, but since it's about you, Mary fucking Poppins, I'll give you the first comment.
A lifetime of memories. We were such different people when I met you. And my first memory of you is, Richard Lee, get in here. You ain't even got no shoes on. I'm like, oh my God, who is this woman with this southern accent who is 21 acting like she's going on 40, until I learned her story. And then we lived our lives together. She has been my lifesaver, and she tells me I've been hers. Do we believe in those unicorn leaves anymore? No. Life's reality has slapped both of us or all of us in the face. But if you don't find whimsy in something, how do you get through? And there's my dog Indy protecting me from, I have no idea, maybe a deer, a bunny, a cat.
Me.
Oh, well, unless you live in Arkansas and you're unarmed, I'm not worried.
I've got
I
two
will be
arms.
right back, ladies. I got to see what's got her going off.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna start talking. So here's the thing. There are and we've had discussions on a season, a reason or a lifetime, but it's those lifetime ones. And I think that a lot of people misconstrue what that means. Because a lot of people think that knowing somebody for a lifetime is maintaining the same level of daily interaction with somebody from now until forever. And that happens with very few people, usually just immediate family if we're forced to. And but to me, when it comes to a true friend, I mean, you love them from now until the day you die. And it doesn't matter if you haven't spoken in 6 months. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen them in 10 years. It doesn't matter. You pick up a phone and it's like nothing has changed. They are always in your heart. They will always be family. You will always love them. And if you're needed, you'll always be there, and so will they. And that's exactly what this feels like to me. It's not just memories, it's a lifetime of love. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing because we don't realize that we are easy to love individually speaking. We don't ever think of ourselves in lovability. You know, people are like, why are you so difficult? And why are you so all the things, too much of all the crap? Well, go find less. And then you find the people that are just your right amount of crazy and your right amount of fun and your right amount of logic and your right amount of everything that you need in that moment. And to those people, it's never too much. It is just enough. And to those people, there is no deterrent to love. It's just acceptance. And those are the people that stick with us in our hearts. And that's what this feels like to me. You know, as this verse here, there's a place not far from my imagination that holds hands with my past. And it's all those unicorn colored leaves and the laughter of our memories, but it's not old. It's not lost. It is life lived that is a phone call away. And so it's not the same as grieving because there's nothing to grieve. It's still there. It's just I don't know how you guys are. But for me, I've got people that I've known forever that I don't talk to as often as I would like to. And what stops me from calling is that usually so much time has passed and my dog tries to kill me and there's so much crazy bullshit that I know that first time that I call them again, that I'm going to need a 3 hour block to catch up, to say all the things and do all the things. And that's a hard thing for me to do because a half hour is going to cut it. And that would feel like a loss for me if I'm like, oh, yeah, got to go, because even though life happens, I would love to block off at least an hour to have a nice soft conversation, relax and just talk. And it's a hard thing for me sometimes to do that. And so I wait, and then the waiting turns into another 3 months. I'm like, well, I'm an idiot because I would take 10 minutes over nothing, but my brain works that way. But this is love. Those strong roots are love, being able to share the ugliest parts of yourself in insecurities and fear and pain. And have somebody sit through that, and to sit through somebody else's, that is, it's more profound than sitting through the joy and the laughter. Anybody is happy to share the happy. It's when they hold you up, when there is nothing left, when they are exhausted, and they're exhausted, and they hold you up anyway, and it's not a chore. That's what love looks like, and that's what grows those roots. That's what keeps strong over distance, and that's what I felt in that poem. So, Raconteur, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a beautiful representation of friendship. I always say, different people bring out different things in each other, and when you find someone that you kind of gel with, you tend not to miss a beat, no matter how much time passes, no matter how different the paths of your lives take. It's an interesting dynamic, but it also it's something that it could. It's, I know for me it's something I could be jealous of, because when you see a bond like that, that there's an understanding there that people on the outside, they can see it, but they can't quite necessarily put their finger on it. And it's one of those things where, when you put the two people together, it's like you're finishing each other's sentences, or you're giggling about something and speaking in almost in code, but it's not code. It's just the experiences that you've shared, and it's beautiful to look at, and it's something that only you two can create. It's almost like your own world, but not, because you're surrounded by reality, and that's what it's kind of based in. But you still, creative about it, and it's a little subjective, but you can giggle about it, and that's, I think, what the most beautiful thing is, because when you could laugh, and share that with somebody, it's like your own personal language, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, how many times did I say beautiful already? It's two of you, so I don't know, 22 times, something like that. It's one of those things, uh
The
it,
thing about
I
relationship, we pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
yeah,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter the time, doesn't matter the distance. It's if I need her, she's there. If she needs me, I'm there. Even the time that we have spent not talking because our lives have gotten us busy, it's just
Yeah.
we're there for each other. We just
Uh-huh.
get each other. I understand her reactions. I understand.
Yeah. Everything.
See, I said I'm jealous.
The
I want to get
emotion.
you too.
Yes, I know. Oh,
I mean, I personally am brutally honest. Pam can
I have
attest to
that thing in my
that.
friends. I don't know what that is
I,
I'm not
because
afraid of losing our friendship because of what I say to her.
Well, that's the thing about friendship too. You don't have to be worried about what you say. You don't have to walk on eggshells. People understand where you're coming from. They understand why you say what you say usually. So and it doesn't always need explaining, but sometimes, as Pretty Bird likes to say, you need to have the conversation.
Yeah.
and,
Trust and respect each other.
right, exactly.
Absolutely.
and that's the foundation for a good relationship. It really is.
I have to tell you that Pretty Bird will say 100 times, I'm brutally honest.
No, I'm not
So
brutal. I'm there's no
no,
brutal.
you're just honest. You say that you don't have to be brutal to be honest, but yeah, honesty is her number one. So I guess I just hang out with people that like to be truly honest, unless
I,
I'm married to them.
I
oh,
cannot stand a liar
not even a little bit. I can
because you,
respect somebody who's an asshole, an open asshole without lying to. I can respect you for that. All right, I appreciate that you're an asshole. You didn't lie to me. I can still trust you later. Not that I would want to, but if you're a good person, you can lie to me about stupid shit. I can't trust you about any damn thing.
absolutely. It calls into question every previous statement, decision, whatever. And that's the glass that you look at that relationship.
OMG. So this is a glass half full. I have a theory. Here it goes. They all already know. Are you ready? This is the kind of
Yes.
asshole I am. Here we go. All right. So is the glass half full or half empty? My theory is this. If you are pouring the substance into the glass, it is half full. If you pour too much and then you have to pour some out because the intent was to fill it, it is still half full, even though you had to pour some out to get there. However, if there's already stuff in said glass and you're pouring it out to get to halfway, it is half empty. If you go past that halfway and have to put some in there to get to that half, since your original intent was to pour it out to halfway, it is still half empty. And people are like, it's not that serious. I'm like, to you,
Wow.
I have theories.
That is a concept I've never considered.
People tend
Oh,
to
she'll get you
ask
going.
me or they tell me, well, why are you so pessimistic? I am not a pessimist. I am logical. I have to think
You're
of
a
all the
realist.
things. I have to think of all the things. Now, I do not recommend thinking of all the worst case scenarios to go about your business. You'll waste a lot of time. However, things tend to not surprise me, and I'm prepared for most things. And then I'm pleasantly surprised. And I'd rather be pleasantly surprised than blindsided and taken out at the knees.
Absolutely. And I don't bother myself on worrying about things because that to me is wasted energy. You have a problem, you put your energy into solving that problem, not worrying about what ifs.
Yeah.
We had a whole what if show. And I'm all like, what if is that? No, we had an if only. We had a what if years ago. Because if only to me is very different than what if.
Yes,
You know?
True.
So
we've
I've
gone
got
that road too.
issues. Yes, all the things. I am not simple. I am very difficult. They're like, why do you have to be that way? Actually, no, the question I get all the time is, why are you like that about so many things? I'm like what? I'm like, well, you never have to question anything with me because, you ask me, I'll tell you.
So
Yeah.
you're black and white,
Oh yeah.
there's no zones.
Yes, I do not gray. Gray is very difficult for me. I understand gray, and sometimes I will concede gray because here is the thing. I'm like, stealing is stealing. I don't give a crap what you're stealing. I don't care who's whatever. If it's not yours, it's not yours, period.
Right?
However, if I was fully destitute and I needed to steal formula to feed my kids, I'm stealing the formula because I'm feeding my kids. So there
Right.
are certain things that will supersede that line of right and wrong for me. And it's usually
Right.
nothing to do with myself and everything to do with the people that I love. And it's few and far
Right.
between. But yeah, I'm very much the person that if I find $1 million in a bag on the road, I am not taking my cut. I am going to the police station and turning the shit in. And if I don't get anything, I don't get anything because it's not mine to begin with. I didn't lose it. I didn't lose anything. People like, it's a gift from God. I was like, then he'll give it back to me when nobody
Oh,
claims it.
Right?
I'm like, I couldn't. I mean, if somebody is missing some money, and if it's a good chunk of money, it's probably ill-gotten. Therefore, I don't need to be on anybody's hit list. Number one, and number two, if it comes back to me, then it is mine, free and clear with no guilt. Okay, so I bought a whole makeup haul at a clearance sale on for Elf, right? Before they were all in Target, and I'm that old, shut up. And so I had this whole entire thing. Actually, I didn't. I bought $9 worth of stuff, but it ended up being a lot of stuff. And I opened this up, and my stuff was in there, and so was somebody else's stuff. I ended up with 36 items. And I was
Wow.
like, and I was on the phone, and I was just like, I gotta go. I had to call them up in their regular, New York number. And I said, listen, there's a whole other invoice with somebody else's information. And I don't know if you want me to send this back. They're like, no, we can't take that back. You keep it. I'll take that. But he took the invoice number, all this stuff, and made sure that whoever got their stuff. And so then I was like, woohoo, I got all this free makeup, which I'm fine with. But I had such anxiety because I got somebody else's stuff, that they paid for, that I was like, yeah, I was on the phone. I was like, yeah, no, I got to take care of this. Either bye. I cannot sleep like this. And they close in 15 minutes. I'm calling them right now. But people think I'm weird.
No.
No, yes,
I would be the same way. I couldn't take if somebody paid for that. And what I cannot stand is the people that porch pirate right now. I don't understand that. No.
Oh.
Deal with that. Cannot deal with them. If I get a package from a neighbor that's not my package, I go take it to them.
Right.
I take it. I cannot stand people that keep my packages.
In our soul, that's the right thing to do because we would want that done for us.
My neighbor pulled a gun on my kid for my custom yarn that I ordered from freaking Holland, and they thought they were going to keep it from FedEx, but oh no, I threw a fit.
Yeah.
Sent FedEx right back there on the Women's Day off. Like, that's not my house. You better go get it. And I had to wait 3 months for that crap, so they better not have used it. They did not. They did open it though. But yeah, pulled a big old shotgun right because my kid was going to go onto their the sidewalk going up to their door. They're like, you better back up. He was like 13 years old. What the heck is wrong with you people? But oh yeah. So if I get stuff from that house, no, I don't give it back.
Well, I don't blame you.
Pull a gun on my child.
Extended, circumstance there.
Yeah. But everybody
else. But where does
yeah.
your conscience fall? Because, I mean, they did you wrong. I get that. They did you dirty. But how do you, in good conscience, keep it because they did you wrong?
She just doesn't give it to them. You got to listen to the subtlety of the language.
I don't even care what's in there. I don't open it.
It goes back to FedEx. She doesn't take it.
Look, yeah, these people don't live here. See you later. Bye.
Okay.
No such person at this address.
I tell you what, though, if you call Amazon, be like, listen, I don't know who this person is. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They will not come and get it. They will just send them new stuff with the numbers that are on the label. Now you know.
Wow.
Yep. I will not.
I guess I live in a different area because there are people in my neighborhood that say, "Listen, my package got dropped off here."
Oh, for everybody else. For everybody else, I have driven 2 blocks over. But if they're going to pull a gun on my kid for before he opens their fence, I'm not opening said fence.
Right.
So those people can kiss my ass all day long.
Yeah, you pull a gun on my 13-year-old, I would be, I'm not taking a pinky towards helping you. Yeah.
I don't know if I give my package to someone, I hope they hang on to it for a while.
Oh, well, until they're done with it, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because, you're that guy.
Say hi to Bud. He's on the board.
Yes. Hey,
I guess I'm very grateful that I have the neighbors that I have now versus when I lived at the ranch. Literally, if their house was on fire, I would just bring the marshmallows and hot dogs. I mean, that's how awful they were to me. But
I
I
think
gotta
we all have
say,
that one neighbor.
Oh God.
but if I but if I received a wrong package, would I bring it to them? Weirdly,
No.
I probably would.
Would you run it over first?
You had to think about
Mm,
that one.
Oh, I dropped it. My bad. Now, when it comes to Christmas, I will return everything around the holidays to everybody. I will walk it to the UPS guy or whoever. I said, listen, this is them. I'm not going over there. Good luck with that. Because Christmas to me is different. But because it's the holidays
why
and I don't,
is that?
because
Because it's Christmas.
I've had a box from my kid's grandmother hijacked, and it's the
Oh,
only time they ever hear from her or heard from her. She's gone now, and they were heartbroken. And I don't wish that on anybody. I just don't. So if it's okay, if it like a regular, like, yeah, Christmas is different for me. There's like a 2 week window where I have chased the okay, so they park UPS parks at one end of my street. Then they have this little a golf cart with a little trailer that they load up with presents like freaking Santa Claus, and then they go whipping around tossing it at the houses, and they go so fast that things pop out that I have tossed my kids in the car to pick up boxes in the middle of the street and hand it back to the UPS lady in the golf cart. Here you go. Oh, where'd you get that? In the middle of the stinking street because Christmas. And
wow.
and it never once occurred to me to keep it, you know? Not
Yeah.
mine. I did keep somebody's dog though.
What?
So did Beth.
They tried. Someone tried
So
to keep your dog
Oh,
too.
sorry. Evan
so
Poppin.
so it was the 4th of July some years back, and this dog ended up underneath our tree. Now our yard is fenced and it was just there. This long-haired lab mix. And it's July in Florida. It's freaking hot. And it was there for like 2 days. And it followed my kid to the porch. And so I gave it water because it's July. I'm like, you need to go
Yeah.
home. I was like, we already have a dog. We can't keep you. You're lovely, but no. And when my husband came back, he's like, we're not feeding it. I was like, I'm giving it water because I'm not heartless. He goes, but it's going to need to eat. It needs to go home. It's like, okay, there's no tags, no nothing. And then, like, not like 2 hours later, he's like feeding it. I'm like,
Aw.
okay. So she's in her house, and I noticed that she's got like little patches of skin off. So I take her to the vet. And they scan her, and she has a chip, and I'm paying $127 to sit there and get her skin cream. And because we have looked everywhere in the Facebook groups, we have driven around with the dog all over the place trying to, it's not like we just sat there and did nothing. And they called the owner and they say, yeah, no, you can keep her. All right, ass. So
Yeah.
that was not okay. Like, they didn't even notice she was gone. Oh, she's mine now.
Very Evan
That
Poppin.
checks my
Her dog.
mind. That happens so much where I live. I'm rural and dogs get dumped all the time.
I can't even imagine. I would lose my shit if I lose my dog. You want to see me hurt somebody? Let me find who has my freaking dog.
Oh my
All
God.
right,
I know someone that had their donkey stolen.
that's funny.
A donkey?
Uh, well,
I had my
yeah,
flowers stolen, but
she
a
has a
donkey?
menagerie. So yeah, she has a menagerie. She's got donkeys. She's got dogs and cats and horses and ducks and all these. But yeah, she's got the donkey. I think the donkey's name was Pedro. But yeah, so someone, and she knows who took it, but she couldn't get it back. Yeah, yeah, they stole her donkey right out of her yard.
Oh my God.
How the hell
Yeah.
do you steal a donkey?
What an ass.
It's harder than stealing
Thank
a
you.
horse.
You're welcome. All right, guys, I have our lovely Budo on the board. He's going to serenade us, which is always just beautiful. Because we always, love that. So I'm going to put Mr. Budo on the board. And
I just want to point out to Mary that Budo popped in. So
yeah, Budo popped in.
Oh, Okay.
And
No. Just live up to your name.
and he is a musician with no AI. He does all the music, all the singing by himself. Um,
OMG.
Thank you.
This is why he's not picking innocence.
no, he's what did I do? Well, actually, I'm gonna change that.
That took me a second. I'm not embarrassed. It's
Hey,
fine.
Limber, can you put one of your phones up because Budo did not load for me. I gotta reload him. So I'm gonna throw one of yours up. I lied.
Who?
I'm gonna throw one of yours
I-
up because Budo did not load for me.
Do you want me to grab him?
Yeah, if you could. I'm sorry. I had him. I thought I had him, but I don't see him in my uploads. Oh, what a crazy, crazy person. I'm sorry, buddy.
It'll be here in a second.
Yeah, you'll be there in a second.
Like literally, give me 10 seconds.
All right.
There he is.
There he is. All right.
It's taking a second to load though. So, but it's there. I don't know if you can see it.
I can see it.
All right.
That's just crazy. All right. We are going to have Budo up. Thank you, honey.
Mhm.
So, Miss Poppins, if you don't like lyres, are there any other stringed instruments that you don't like?
Oh, good Lord.
OMG.
All right. Here comes Budo.
Guitar and piano are my favorites.
The sun sets on our bedroom walls, but I can't let go that dream. That she will be coming back. To my arms she'll be. One day, someday soon, one day, someday soon. The stars play out the night sky, and the moon winks back at me. But is it laughing inside? A smile a mile wide. Because the joke's on me. Because the joke's on me. And I will wait for you till the stars fall from the sky and the sun burns up and turns to bone. But I know deep down inside I won't be coming home, coming back to me. You won't be coming home, coming back to me. So many nights I pondered the ins and outs of us, to to make sense of the madness and take us back when, take us back then, take us back when, take us back then, take us back when. And I will wait for you till the stars fall from the sky and the sun burns up and turns to bone. But I know deep down inside you won't be coming home, coming back to me. You won't be coming home, coming back to me. You won't be coming home, coming back to me.
Oh, I do so enjoy a Budo serenade. Um, there's something very soothing about the way he writes. There really is, and the way he plays and all of the things. It's very relaxing. There's something about the people that we wish to keep around forever, that our journeys take them down different paths that don't even run parallel sometimes, that there's a longing that lingers sometimes. Speaking of linger, your title, Fool for You, has got me full up in the cranberries. I'm just saying. But yeah, when you're laying there at the end of the day and there's nobody beside you, or you're beside people that just, sometimes people feel like home. And sometimes people almost feel like home, but not in the way that other people feel like home before life breaks you down, because there's a certain purity, a certain innocence to that kind of emotion before you know better, and anything that comes after, this kind of heartbreak, that kind of loss, this kind of reality check, it's when your innocence gets chipped away. It doesn't matter how pure your emotions are, they don't quite land in the same space. You're always just a tiny bit wary until you get fully comfortable, and sometimes that can take years. So that first person that feels like home will always feel like home. And sometimes there is this remembrance that feels very, very full. And if you think about who is surrounding you now or who isn't surrounding you now, sometimes it's just not quite as full. That doesn't mean that it's not loving and fully loving and your whole heart and all this stuff, but let's face it, people need heartbreak for a reason. It's how we kind of emotionally grow, unfortunately. And therefore, that full innocence of instant full trust that doesn't have to be earned on any level, that disappears early on. And so you trust a certain level, and then you trust them all the way as time goes on, and you believe all the good things. But this feels like it's in between the purity of the home that once was, like that kind of soul home, and the next one, and the void that isn't necessarily a full loss, but a longing to be fulfilled by that same feeling with that same person, because you always miss them. They're like, well, you never forget your first love, or whatever kind of bullshit ended it, because that also sucks. But when you focus on the good, it's a hard thing not to miss. It's a hard thing not to wonder. And that is my dog back there, if y'all are wondering what the heck that sound is. And this here, so many nights I ponder the ins and outs of us to make sense of the madness and take us back when, to take us back then. And it's exactly that. whatever happened doesn't necessarily change that feeling of home, you know? And it's hard to fathom, even years later, what the hell happened if it's still if even the thought of it still feels like home. And I think this captures that very well. It's longing with but it's not desolation. You know what I mean? It's
But is
I don't
longing for who you used to be together versus who you are now?
maybe, but I'm thinking that if it's for me, what this evokes. Okay, so this brings to mind somebody that I didn't even know I was in love with until I was in love with somebody else. And I know that sounds weird, but I was 18 years old and he was my best friend. He was my best friend, the first person, who also first guy, but first person that ever just believed in me for no fucking reason, who thought I was all the good things, who liked my dry sense of humor, who didn't who laughed with me and taught me how to laugh at myself, that never made me feel laughed at because he was all joy. And I didn't realize until he was no longer in my life, and I found somebody years later that I was just like, "Oh, he's my baseline." If they don't meet that requirement as a minimum of how I feel in that relationship, a chance. I don't give anybody a chance. And, I didn't realize, I mean, I knew I loved him, he was my best friend, but I didn't know I loved him until I fell in love with somebody for real. And I was just like, "I know this feeling." I was like, "Oh, I missed all the things. How the fuck naive was I?" But, when you think about that, I don't think about the end of things. I think about all the good that was, and it's not about what ifs or what could have been, it's about the truth of what that existence was, and that's what this feels like to me. It feels like like he wants that. Like, he remembers that feeling, loves that feeling, and is waiting for that feeling to return with the person, because that's where that feeling lives, in the union. And I just find that to be lovely. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if there was a way to take us back to then, before the world falls apart and it all becomes the now, between the then and the now is what might be keeping us here before the pain becomes the madness we perceive as love. Because I think a lot of us live there, um, in that place, trying to decide if the now can become what was. And
It can.
we really want to think that that could happen, that somehow that will come back. And that's the house we live in. And we keep praying that that's going to come back, even in all the madness that there is. And that's the feeling I got the first time I heard this, the feeling I still have when I read it. It's just very painful and very, I can be here and I can wait and I can do this and I'll make sense of the madness because this is love. And it's really not love, it's actually pure torture. So, Rack, your
Just
thoughts?
it's become enduring.
True. I
The,
love your
the, the,
dog.
the,
The
the
love and
idea
the
this that
just
We we
it
we, te-
Hold on.
we tend to round robin our comments.
So, go ahead, Rack, and then I'll let you talk.
the idea of this for me, there's kind of a disconnect in the sense that he felt how he felt, and there's a bit of confusion in his heart as to why she doesn't see it the same way, and why things fell apart. That's what it comes to me, because otherwise you're invalidating someone else's feelings, or you're trying to love someone that doesn't love you back. So to me, this is like, I'm loving you as best as I can. I'm giving you, I'm offering you all of me, and it's meaningless to you. So I'm just gonna have to move on, and it's obvious you're not going to come back to it because it never meant anything to you, and that's where it breaks my heart. But again, I'm blind. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Literally. Oh, okay. Mary Ellen Poppins, talk away now.
I'm talking from the lens of a 40-year marriage who we
Mhm.
were deeply and passionately in love for most of it. But now that we are in our later years, our relationship is very platonic, and we find ourselves, we'll be together forever, okay? But the realities are that I have to look at the business side of it. You don't take care of yourself the way you need to. How am I going to survive after you're gone? Um, it's comfortable to be together, and we wouldn't have what we have without the strengths that we each bring to the relationship. But that overwhelming love and need to be together and passion, it's gone. And I
Like
am
under the couch.
envious. I mean, I'm envious of the people whose relationship is where, you know, they still are, seem to be deeply in love, because I love when I get the response from my husband now that, well, we're both older now. You know,
And
I would take the time, and I do take the time to the infrequent times that we go out together to make myself what I think is beautiful. And I hear, "Oh, you look fine." When
oh,
I used to get, "You look sexy, you are beautiful," and it's just not there anymore.
I'll go beat him up.
It's not going to change. He's not going to change. And my needs that used to be met are not met anymore. And I'm not going to go look somewhere else because, yeah, no, thank you. It's just not. But it's really sad to see the evolvement of a relationship that was deep and true and caring go to, some days I can barely stand to be with you because your
ouch.
meanness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
I read his poem, and it takes me to those times in my life where it's not a lack of love, it's just life. Life takes people in different directions, and love doesn't ever go anywhere. And you still have to live in the aftermath of that, in the absence of it, even if it remains true, even if it hasn't changed, even if it's the best thing you've ever felt. And when life does some fucked up things,
Yeah.
and that doesn't, when that doesn't go anywhere, it kind of leaves you in that place. And it's hard to build a separate life around it when you kind of know what everything you want feels like.
When you're
It's
just
very,
existing.
yeah, it's a very difficult thing. But I think that Bud, you did a great job putting that to music, especially. So awesomeness. All right, so
Yep.
And
you put me up on the board. So here we go. This is "We Shared a Moon and It Broke My Heart" by me, Pretty Bird, and it goes like this:
Oh,
Water glisters in reflection of Earth's lonely satellite on golden cobbles of dreams undreamt. Obsidian wears jewelry in the night sky. Tarnished silver edges, grayscale truths, burning coffee grounds into messages on my pillow. Sangria writes my words, and after sex sandwiches I never made. Mahogany gaze drizzles highlights of anguish in black ink without whiteout. arching my back, trying to reach yesterday, and I miss the apparition that shares your name, riding motorcycles through pristine prayers as wilted poinsettias herald the season's end. Fire roasts demons after chestnuts, and my eyes burn in your ashes, raining lost hopes on wet air. Black and white lines on black and white pages, where bleeding is the only protection from the downpour. Streetlights flicker against pooled pain. We remain in mirrored smoke that burns as much as it saves a soul. End poem.
Pretty bird, pretty bird, pretty bird.
It is.
Girl, the way you write just breaks me. Fire roast demons after chestnuts, and my eyes burn in your ashes, raining lost hopes in wet air. I mean, come on now. Sometimes your lines just, they blow me away. You're so talented. And fire roast demons after chestnuts. Well, at least we get
Call
the
me a
chestnuts.
simpleton, but I need some explanation. I'm trying to create a visual of what that means, and I
She
can't.
will. That's all right. It's very metaphoric, and she. If Pretty Bird, would you like to?
When everybody's done, yeah.
Okay. Um, the pain in here, because I know you don't believe in grayscale truths. You believe in brutal honesty. So for someone to let you lie there in that, I know that that's never going to work. Black and white lines on black and white pages where bleeding is the only protection from the downpour. So I know that there's a lot of pain in here. We remain in mirrored smoke that burns as much as it saves a soul.
Hmm.
You have the ability to make someone understand that you're never going to allow a lie to hurt you or a lie to go through. And I can just, you may have shared some kind of love or something, but in this, it's the afterwards. I love Sangria writes my words in an after sex sandwich I never made. You just put so many great lines and metaphors in here about the aftermath of what could have been or should have been, but it was just never there because someone just wasn't truly honest. At least that's what I read in it. So, Racontor, your thoughts?
The thing I love about poetry in general, and I want to say you specifically because you hone in on the emotions, and whether it's a metaphor or straight up, you're telling the story of how it's hitting you, and how you feel, and that's what's beautiful about it, because as poets, we tend to exaggerate a little bit, but it's still in the lines of truth. And it's even a disservice to call it an exaggeration, because really, the emotion, it does hit, and sometimes, like tonight's topic, the emotional echoes. When it comes back to you, it hits even harder. The second time around, the more you think on it, the more you realize it. The older you get, the better your vision is, and the clearer you see what actually happened. So when you tell stories like this, about your experience, again, it hits like Miss Sweet Pea mentioned. So yeah, I appreciate it. And as far as deciphering what you read, she'll tell you, if you see it, it's there. You don't have to really know what she meant when she wrote it. Um, However it tumbles across on your radar, and however you interpret it, she's good with that. And the other thing about what you're seeing, or hearing, or even feeling, um, it's usually not as encrypted, or muddled as you might think. She's just basically telling it like it is. If you just read the title, we shared the moon, and how did what how, I hate to misquote it, because I can't read it, and it broke your heart, right? That's what you're saying, and it's just so what he showed you, you kind of disappointed, and that's really all you need to know as you read it. You hold that to your heart, and read it and wind up where you do.
Don't
All
mind
right.
my background noise. So you had questions for me, Miss Mary Poppins?
So, correct me if I'm wrong. The poems that Sweet Pea has read to me have created a picture and a timeline in my mind.
Because she's a storyteller, which is
Yes.
awesome.
Okay.
I don't tell stories.
Did you just blurt out snippets of pure emotion?
I puke
Yep.
on a page. Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Whatever poem you read from whomever, whatever you see in there, whether they intend it to be like that or not, is as valid as whatever their intention was. That's the magic of poetry. That's the beauty of it. Whatever you see, whatever it touches in you, it's perfectly valid. There is no wrong answer. So I will take the next to last verse, the black and white lines on black and white pages, where bleeding is the only protection from the downpour, where the downpour is tears and the bleeding is the ink with which I write. And so in order to get through the pain, you pour it out on paper. And that's kind of the end of the road from where the pain starts at the beginning. Is there any particular verse or general question that you wanted me to answer?
No, to be honest with you, I was trying to follow along. Like I said, when I hear Sweet Pea's poems, they tell a story and I
Yes.
can visualize it.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's a different
It's a
it's a
rare
different
thing if I
style.
do that. Yeah,
Yes.
I tend to be I have been called emotionally eviscerating, and I am okay with that.
No, it's not eviscerating. It's like what emotion other than pain are you trying to get across? Is there any hope? Is there defeat?
No.
No, you got it. It's
So here's
pain.
the thing about pain and my relationship with pain. Pain is unlike any other emotion because it is consistent. It doesn't matter if it's emotional pain, physical pain, whatever the heck it is, it's gonna hurt. It sucks.
It's
And
honest.
it's pure. It's the only pure emotion. Anger comes with love, comes with sadness, comes with betrayal. Love, there are many facets of love. The only thing that remains constant, regardless of how you look at it, is pain. Pain will always hurt. Otherwise, it's not pain. And because of that, or because of my view of that, if I'm purging pain on a page, I don't tend to usually define it. I mean, sometimes it's very specific, but it's more the description of, a pang of emotion, good or bad, that I tend to puke on a page. It's not necessarily the whys and the hows and the any of that. I mean, sometimes it is, but not usually, not the way I do it. And it's okay. I absolutely know I am not for everyone. It is okay.
You are metaphorically a genius. You have a stunning lexicon. You write beautifully. You are an amazing poet. Um, and the way you write, your pain is just unbelievable. So it,
I
it's
I believe
crazy.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. And Budo says it felt like you were writing about missing things that will never happen. So, but it is time for our announcements. So what's coming up?
Announcements.
On
Tuesday.
Tuesday, I will tell you what's coming up on Tuesday. On Tuesday, it's not my fault you're stupid. And because, I would be the asshole and I'm okay with that. On any given day, people surprise us, whether it's with kindness, rudeness, intelligence, or stupidity. Um, However, it's the stupidity, often wrapped in entitlement, that permeates deep and dances on that last nerve. They always seem to blame everyone else for their thoughtlessness or mistakes. The bottom line is, that's not my fault you're stupid. That's on Tuesday.
This is very true. It is not my fault. You're stupid. I love that subject. And coming up on Thursday, it will be back to school for all those kids that kept you on your toes all summer. It's time to breathe and take a moment for yourself. Or is it between helping with homework, assignments, making cookies for the class, and all those extra after school expectations? Can you really enjoy the solitude of your own company? So that is back to school Thursday. Um, and of course, we have do you want to do the following week or are we just good with that?
We don't have the following week up, do we?
I don't think so. I don't know. I didn't pay attention. You know me. So we've got Not My Fault, You're Stupid, and Back to School coming up. And of course, you can find us at Pretty Sweet. I can't even talk. You can find us at prettysweet.podbean.com for all our conversations. And be sure to check out our side pieces because those are a lot of fun. You can listen to us live on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Facebook, X, and YouTube. You can listen to us everywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Podbean, and many others. Just follow those red shoes to paradise, which would be me and Pretty Bird. And leave your opinions on our opinions. Give us a like, a heart, a comment, whether it's in love or hate. We appreciate the feedback. So like, share, and follow. You can listen live in our studio. Just look for the link. And
that we only post on allpoetry.com.
On allpoetry.com. This is true. Come join us there. That's our home front. And what else am I forgetting? I don't think I forgot anything this time. Did I, my darling Pretty Bird, or did I miss
just
something?
type in Pretty Sweet, PRTTY, sweet, all one word, and click on those red shoes. That's it.
I always forget that to spell it out.
Well, that's because I spell my name like I don't know how to spell. It's fine.
Yes, there's no E in pretty. And it's really funny because every time my husband goes to type us in, he always puts the E in. I'm always like, no E, no E, no E.
And to put you, Purdy Sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it has to be. So, Rack, you're going to be up next. Who's going to read for you?
Go ahead.
Okay. Because if you haven't guessed, Rack really is blind. It's not just a joke, even though we tease him about it constantly. Even though he'll read Braille across your chest anytime you let him.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So this is Exiled by Raconteur. Let's hope I can read all your words tonight. Okay, Exiled by Raconteur. I have spilled a river of ink bemoaning my isolation, unable to articulate my heart's devastation. To say I've broken only scratches the surface, because my beating heart serves no purpose. Running from yesterday and afraid of tomorrow, living Today, laden with sorrow, my chest cracks open and pours out all that remains. Tears are no different than ink, they both leave stains. My days drag on and my nights are stone cold. The clock is winding down and this depression's getting old. Any hope of solace has long since passed. Everything I value has been trashed. The shattered memories I cling to are the very thing ruining any chance at a new beginning. Such is the paradox for which I've been condemned, fantasizing about a fresh start when I should be preparing for my end. Peace.
I have spilled a river of ink bemoaning my isolation. Same, I think it's the poet's lament. It is all of the things that leave us up our own ass because that is a poet's happy place, And y- here's the thing: if it's not attached to feeling, it feels dishonest. And when words feel dishonest, it feels like it just, wasted however long it took me to read it. I'm like, well, I can't get that time back. And yours are always heartfelt, which I fully appreciate. The shattered memories I cling to are the very thing ruining any chance at the new beginning. And we do it to ourselves every gosh darn time. People are just like, let it go. Oh, kiss my ass. Because if it was as easy as that, nobody would ever be miserable. Oh, yeah, well, that happened. See you later. Bye. That's not what caring looks like. It lingers, it sits there and it permeates our skin and it gets into our veins and it feels like flipping air, and then we can't escape our own mental emotional prison that we do to ourselves because those people don't give a shit. They're gone, you know and so they live rent free. And sometimes, I mean, it's bad when the attachment, however healthy it may have been, is deep enough. I mean, we'll go days without eating or eating everything and not bathing, and who gives a shit about work? And I mean, it can really be devastating. And it's not a good place to be because it's very hard to pull yourself out of that by yourself, because it is very easy for us when we are physically not around other people to feel like there's nobody there, like we don't matter, like we never matter, that everybody's full of shit and nobody wants to hear my shit, and I'm always full of shit, and where are the Cheetos? And I hate that that is as familiar as, you know, anything else. Like it's I wish it wasn't familiar. I wish I didn't know what that felt like. I wish nobody knows what that felt like because it sucks. And we have to process how we process. My days drag on and my nights are stone cold because you're soaking wet from the tears. That's what happens. And unless you're living in the land of swamp ass, because ain't nothing cold here. And it is a miserable place to be, and it's fully devastating. And even if we can pick our head up enough to be like, well, if I want to keep a roof over my head, I have to drag my ass into work, you still don't want to deal with the people. You put on the face, you do the job, you go home, don't fucking talk to me, you are not my friend, like this kind of emotional devastation absolutely weeds out the coworkers that are acquaintances and anybody you actually give a crap about. Like, don't fucking talk to me. I don't, if I don't need you for my job, that pretend I don't exist right now. And but when you don't have that, when it's just you by yourself and there's no other people walking in and out of your day, it is very difficult to float to the edge of that pool of despair. Because not for nothing, and I'm gonna say it again, pain never lets you down. There's a certain comfort in that. Not that pain isn't painful, but everything else lets you down. This is not. This is reliable. Pain is reliable. And there's a certain thing when you know it's going to hurt, it's different than feeling vulnerable because you're already at the bottom. It already is what it is. We're like, all right, I am surviving. I'm going to survive in this pool of blackness until something's going to force me out of it. And it's not an easy thing. It isn't. And even if you don't want to be there, it wants to pull us back because, they say misery loves company, but pain is the magnet. I am just saying. And it wants to just keep us warm. Oh, are you cold, darling? I'll keep you warm. Here's some more pain for you. Remember this little tidbit. And it's like, oh, yeah, like I needed that. But it is very isolating. And if you're someone like me, I self-isolate. I try not to burden people with my shit. I understand that to the people who love me, it's not a burden. But to me, I'm a burden to everybody. And so we do it to ourselves sometime where we're like, well, no, let them, they're having a happy moment. I'm not going to put my shit on them right now. And we do ourselves a disservice. And it's disrespectful to our friends and loved ones, to be honest, because, and so this might be a hot take. I would get fully butthurt if somebody that I cared about deeply is going through some shit and they didn't trust me enough to tell me. I get butthurt. I'm also a hypocrite because the people that I love, I don't want to burden with my shit. And it can't work both ways. So this is very much, crunchy Cheetos and a bath a week if I'm lucky. This is that kind of depression. This is a full-bodied, I need to wallow in it before I can breathe right. And that's not an easy thing to depict. So Sweet Pea, your thoughts on Exiled?
Wow. I kind of like how you said it's Cheetos and no baths. Yeah, that is a great description of this kind of depression. My days drag on and my nights are stone cold. The depression is getting old, and I have so been here where you just want to sleep and not talk to anybody and just be alone, and it's very, very difficult to get out of that, where you do the absolute bare minimum. The laundry's piling up, the dishes aren't done, things are just literally at the bare minimum. And oh yeah, I'm supposed to eat. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I won't. You just don't really care about your own presence, let alone anything around you. You just literally get swallowed in that darkness. And this is kind of heartbreaking. Um, Everything I value has been trashed. And I think the biggest thing we trash is ourselves when we're in that depression, because we are, you know, we don't care. We don't care about anything. And the biggest thing we don't care about is ourselves, because we don't care what's going on around us. We don't care about anything. We don't care, if our hair is greasy, our body smells, whatever. Who cares? Nobody's going to care about us, so why care about ourselves? And, it's just shattered memories I cling to are the very thing ruining any chance at a new beginning. And what a paradox. Because this is what I used to be, and this is what I really am. And nobody has seen through, I'm the only one that really knows me, and I know this is how awful I am. And I put on a show for everybody. I can't put on a show for myself. And you just keep swallowing that bullshit and swallowing that bullshit. And you just live in that loneliness and you live in that pain. And you're the only one that can bring yourself out of it. I mean, this is just heartbreaking, darling. Absolutely heartbreaking. Wow. All right. I have my next one up, guys. And this is called Blemished. Um, this is Blemished by Sweet Pea. I have grown accustomed to you, observing me in silence between the lines of your compliance, condemning me with your holier than thou attitude, whispering, come hither, no matter the time or the affair. Wrapped in malice and disdain, I refused to remain. I shredded our relationship, torn it to pieces, struck the match, watched it burn in flames, spilled the ink, closed the book, and walked away. Yet somehow I find myself again in the fairy tale without end. Panic or manic rage or peace, floating in your space, not able to run from it all. I redacted corruption and mistakes. I purge words with blood of my fingertips and sacred love. Now scarred in love, corrupting another blank page with my insanity, leaving both of us unclean, punishing your innocence with the pressure of an illogical pen, your mind forever scarred by the ink tattoo of a mad woman. An open invitation to be read and misunderstood by feeble ingrates, knowing my weakness comes in the colors of vanity and praise. Does our story have to end here, wallowing in our former glory? Can we not become a better story? If I must plead for your forgiveness, how do I survive if not for strength I find in the shadow of your lines? There's a pot of coffee brewing, a dog barking in the yard. A neighbor is trying to start his old Ford car. But from my nightstand drawer, I hear you calling, a blank page waiting for another story. End poem.
So many things. So I love the twist at the end of this because it reads like something completely different. And you pull us in to the come hither and the wrapped in malice and the where is it? Where is it? Where is the struck a match, watched it until it spilled the ink, closed, but no, where is it? Where is I shredded our relationship, torn it to pieces. And and I'm just like, okay, so there's this, and then there's that, and then there's this action, and then there's this reaction. And here's the thing. For those of us who bleed on paper, it is a tumultuous relationship at best. Because a muse is a moody thing. It is we purge when we need to purge, and when we want to purge, it mocks us and all the things, and then it's a full mirror of all the things we don't want to see in ourselves. So if we're honest in our writing, we're like, oh, well, I'm just a fucking asshole. And then we're like, but is it true? Is it not true? And then we contemplate more shit, which hopefully will sit there and lead to more pages. But it's the blank ones that get me, the ones where your brain does not want to purge, or you fight it because you don't want to look at it, because once it's in words, it's real. And once it's real, you can't lie to yourself as easily. And if you can't lie to yourself, then you have to face things. And if you have to face things, well, why the fuck do you want to write about it then? And so it's like it's this relationship that it keeps you sane. It keeps you not murdering people. It keeps you in a place that is less volatile, but also it's still tumultuous. And it is both savings grace and the bane of your existence. I mean, it is for me, and that's what this feels like. And it's all the things, and it's that reflection, that undeniable thing that if you go to read it a month later, 2 months later, a year later, it's going to pull you right back into that moment and be like, well, damn, the things that you don't want to realize, that you don't want to look at, that you don't want to share, but you really want to, because it's tough going through things by yourself. But I don't want anybody else's opinion. That doesn't mean I don't want it out there, because we're all kind of crazy. And this kind of holds that all in there with a very um heartbound relationship, you know and when you're looking at those blank lines or those blank pages, and it calls you in the middle of the night, and it's almost like, what the hell do you want now? For fuck's sake, I'm trying to sleep. And but it'll win. It'll always win, because there's no sleeping if it needs to come out. And I think that this had a wonderful twist for me. It was lovely. So, Raconteur, your thoughts?
Uh, I do so love a wonderful twist. um, the idea of this, it speaks to me of your heart and who you are and how you love. And it's, I think, one of the reasons why you know people are drawn to you in a lot of ways. It's your passion. It's the way that you carry yourself, and it shows what you believe and where your faith lies. And as much as it hurts, you know, as much as you suffered, you're still in the middle of it, and you kind of, I won't say good with it, but acknowledging of the fact that this is where you're at, and it's a self-awareness, I think, that people need to face, and it could be a very lonely place and a very painful place, but I don't have to tell you that because it's right there in black and white, or green and white, or whatever color your screen is.
Sweet, you're muted.
That doesn't help me talking along. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. And Pretty Bird, you are up.
Okay, this is Cobalt is Beautiful Until Every Shape is Melancholy by me, Pretty Bird. And it goes like this. Blinded by a saline drip in the pitch of dehydrating wildflowers. The world on its ears still can't hear your laughter. I read words that feel like you until they fade like worn memories, fleeing unseen into the umbra of wasted time. My heart is flung over my shoulder like a pair of broken heels after a rough night, contemplating the consequences of dumping it with every bin I pass. But it holds you tenderly in its desiccated, deformed grasp, which somehow makes it beautiful. The voices tell me you weren't real, but I gather melancholy shapes that smell like kings, staring at the scale of truth and denial, never a balanced equation from any perspective. Logic screams in my sleep, but your laughter still feels like home. And poem.
Wow. This is almost surreal. It's, again, you write with such beautiful words. Um, it's I love blinded by a saline drip in the pitch of dehydrating flowers. The world on its ears still can't hear laughter.
Your
It's
dog needs a CPAP.
it's like a heart battered, but you're still creating. You're still wanting this presence. It's fragile. It's beautiful, and it goes back and forth to is this real or is this not real? Is this you know it's an imbalance of logic. It's something you want to remember, but it's not quite there. But you feel that laughter, like laughter is home. It's like grasping for like a tattered blanket because you want to feel that warmth and you're not sure if it's going to stay there. You I don't know. It's I read the words that feel like you until they fade like worn memories fleeing unseen into the umbra of wasted time. But then you go to it holds you tenderly in its deformed grasp, which somehow makes it beautiful. Um, but then the voices tell me you weren't real, but I gather melancholy shapes that smell like kings. So it kind of goes back and forth, like
Well,
you're
the
un-
middle part is about the heart, not about the person.
Yeah.
so it's just like you're not sure if your memories are real, but yet they are very real. So it's kind of like that fading memory, but logic screams in my sleep. Your laughter feels like home. So I like that it kind of does that. It's something that's fading, but you're holding very tight to it. It's very beautiful. And Rack, your thoughts?
Thank you. Um, the thing I love about this is the inherent questioning of what happened, of did I see what I thought I saw, and in the end, you're still missing that feeling. There was something there. There's no denying that there was something, and that to me is the beauty of something like this, because you fell, and as much as you feel like a fool, you were still in that moment, and it was still beautiful for what it was, and for the time that it was, and it was something to enjoy and to remember. But it's almost like a regret that you're questioning it. It's a what was I really in the middle of this? Did I really see things the way that I thought I saw them? And whatever it was, I'm not going to question it. I just, there's no denying I miss it. So again, the idea of this, the beauty I find in it is more or less the acceptance of it. It's like, um, anyone that has any kind of I want to say intelligence, is going to think back on things and reevaluate, because that's what we tend to do, right or wrong. At one point it meant one thing, and you're going to look at it and be like, was I right? Is this what I saw? Or it turns into what it turns into. So I find this to be beautiful.
I appreciate that. The part here where it says, my heart is flung over my shoulder like a pair of broken heels after a rough night. And it goes directly into the next one, where it's, but it holds you tenderly in its desiccated, deformed grasp, which somehow makes it
Yeah,
beautiful. And and that is a full on, broken hearted, unable to whatever, but it's still not letting
i'm
you go. It still loves
I
what
miss
it
it.
loves.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not, this isn't longing.
Mm,
It's just you can't escape the reality of what was.
yeah.
And you miss what you miss. It doesn't mean anything other than that. And just because you miss it doesn't mean you want it back. That's for damn sure.
All right. So, Freebird, I read the first one. You get to read Rack's second one.
Sure.
All right.
This
Thank you.
is So It Goes by Raconteur. And it goes like this. My heart was melted by three little words until they proved untrue, a victim of poor judgment. I put my faith in you. I don't know which is worth, believing it a lie or never hearing those words again, inexorably eroding as life passes me by. I'm little more than an inconvenience, an afterthought, unworthy of your time, longing to be regarded with vehemence, entwining your future with mine. Nobody seems to recognize my heart. I am surrounded yet completely alone, mired under everything that's fallen apart, sifting through the unkindness I've known, endlessly searching for happily ever after, subsisting like a ghost in a memory, fooling myself until the next disaster, depleting everything that's left of me. So it goes, one tear closer until I die. Who the hell knows how much longer I'll get by? End poem. You know, again, with this uncomfortable familiarity, that being in a room full of people and still being invisible, that especially when it's people that are supposed to love you and they don't notice shit, you know, that's that's not fun. And you remember those moments. I don't care if it happened when you were 5, 10, 15, and every year since then, you remember the moments, the ones that if it was somebody that you loved, you would never let it pass without at least asking the question, you know? And people don't always notice things the same way, but we get used to not being seen. And when we're quiet about it, they don't notice that they missed anything. And so I have to wonder how much of that is our own damn fault, where we know that they are not as, what's the word I'm looking for, as emotionally astute as where they don't clock it a lot. And it's not because you're selfish, it's just because they don't clock it a lot. If you're not boohoo crying, it doesn't yell danger, Will Robinson, you know what I mean? And instead of saying, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? I need to get something off my chest because I'm going through something. We tend to sit there going, well, I mean, of course they don't notice. Why would they notice? I don't matter. I know this because I've done this many times. I'm like, well, nice of you to notice I exist now. What do you want? Because it's only when you want something. Because we shape it that way. We don't want to take any responsibility of that because we're all like, well, they should know. No, they shouldn't. We're all stupid, you know, me included. We don't always catch it. And some of us are very much, if they're going through it, maybe I'll wait till they come to me so that I don't pressure them more than they're already feeling bad. And we don't give them a chance to explain that because we're too much. Well, they don't notice, so fuck them, because that's what happens. This lack of communication. But outside of that is this. This is, well, that they can be bothered every now and then, and I'm always in the way, and you always have something more important to do or something more urgent to do or something better to do. And how can you not see the pain in my eyes? How can you not notice that you haven't heard my laugh? Why am I still invisible? And if I'm this invisible, why am I still here? And when we are counting on happily ever after to actually be happy, it ends up being, well, we were happy once, weren't we? And we latch on to that. When the truth is, there's no fucking happily ever after. It's work. You have to, everybody involved in whatever that happily ever after looks like has to put in the effort, has to do their due diligence, has to ask the uncomfortable questions, has to live with the fact that sometimes, it's our fault that they're crying, even if we don't notice, you know? And we look, well, I didn't do anything. How is it always my fault? But because sometimes it is. Sometimes it's the absence of thought that is the exact problem, you know? But if we have to announce it, if I have to tell you, oh, today is my birthday for you to buy me something, well, then I don't want your fucking gift, you know? Because that's how, if I have to remind you, it's not the same. But, just because we think they should know doesn't mean we ever actually remember telling them. You know what I mean? Everything's all fucked up. But one tear closer until I die. So who the hell knows how much longer I'll get by. And here's the thing. When we get fed up, we get tired of being lonely in a room full of people. When we get tired of being overlooked, passed over, and just forgotten, we either disappear or we get loud because pain is either silent or lashes out. There's not a whole lot of middle ground there. And then we're like, fuck you. Why should I do all the things, this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 when you can't even notice shit. And then out of nowhere, people are like, what, I'm sorry, what I do? And you're like, oh, yeah, no, I'm the idiot. But no, we all are shaped by our unfortunate experiences. The way we cope with different types of pain triggered by different actions or inactions, that is nuanced and personal, and no two people are exactly the same, and what's logical to us isn't logical to everybody else or even sometimes anybody else. And because of that, our expectations that make us all fucking butthurt are misplaced. And it's different if you've had this conversation 50 times and they still can't be bothered to notice, you know? So I will
Yes.
give it that. And if that's the case, if you're still made to feel unimportant and they don't seem to give a shit that it bothers you, I'm thinking these are not the people for you, you know? And it doesn't matter how much you love them. they can't realize ever what they do, or it doesn't register, or they don't care, how long are you going to do that to yourself? Now, again, I'm going to say this because I say a lot of things. Sometimes it's not a lack of caring. Sometimes it's a lack of there's of sometimes circumstances play a massive part, and there really isn't a whole lot you can do outside of that to make things better in the way somebody wants to, and that doesn't mean that they don't care. But it's a lot to live with. It's a lot to sit alone. It's a lot to contemplate all the ways you're lonely. That is not healthy. I don't wish that on anybody. That is how you dig the hole deeper of depression. Well, let's see. I would never A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but they're already on the double letters because you've gone through the alphabet of all the things that they've done and all the ways you feel all unimportant. And that's just all the proof that I am unworthy and I am useless. I am the burden. Therefore, why do I need to exist? And these are things that we contemplate in very real depth. And because we contemplate them, we feel them. And when we feel them, it's hard to recognize that that's not necessarily reality because they feel real. And until we can gain a little perspective, a little different perspective, until we can see a different side of it, there's nothing that can convince us that that is not exactly what is happening right now. And if that is a possibility, then I don't need to be here. And that is a hard place to be. And how do you crawl out of your own ass when it's that deep? It's tough. And I think you did a great job with this. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
I sometimes look at poems and I'll look at different lines and just kind of read different lines. And in your second line of each stanza, I think it just sums up my comment so beautifully. Because until they prove untrue, believing in a lie, an afterthought unworthy of your time, I'm surrounded yet completely alone, subsisting like a ghost in a memory, one tear closer until I die. There's so much pain and loneliness in all those lines. And you wrote them, obviously not, you have all kinds of words in between them. But every sentence, just the second line in every stanza just jumped out at me. And I went, wow, that's a lot of pain. That's a lot of depression. That's a lot of, hurt locker that Rack loves to spill on us. And it's just like waiting for your death, waiting for someone, to recognize that, hey, I'm alone, I'm abandoned, I'm invisible, am I not worthy of somebody not to lie to me, of somebody to actually care about me? And, you know, you weave pain like a master weaves a basket. Um, you can just have someone feel the heaviness in this emotion, and you just walk away from your poems with a heart full of um, your heart is just full of your own loneliness, and reflecting on how do I treat people, how am I making anyone feel that way, am I doing the right thing to the people around me, am I telling the people I love that I love them? I don't want anybody in my life to feel this way if they're a part of my life. Who did I abandon? Who am I making feel like they're a ghost in my memory? um, you make us think. And that's one of the things I absolutely love about your writing. And the one thing I hate about your writing is this about himself? Is please tell me he doesn't feel this way. I wouldn't be able to stand it because it would hurt too much. And I know it's from the hurt locker, but don't ever feel like that because it would hurt too much. I mean, it's just so beautiful, a lovely, hurtful, painful. right across your heart, right.
So if you liked every second line, does that mean you only liked half the poem?
No, I said the second line to sum up my comment. I didn't say I only like the second line. Oh, I know your eyes are broken. Are your ears broken too?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm completely broken.
Yeah, me too. So I have my last poem up.
I left you a note. You might want to read it.
Oh, my note. Okay. Left me a note. I don't know. I don't think so. You're right. I shouldn't do that. That's a good thought. Um, Never
We
mind. We'll just read your last one then.
we do have the you still have the little boxes of memories.
I do. I do. But
Tiny boxes.
I do. But I had read that on a show like 3 weeks ago, so I wasn't going to do it. So
I
we'll
mean,
just do yours.
oh, you could still. I mean, if it fits the theme, it fits the theme.
That's all right. We'll just do yours. It's almost 10 o'clock anyway. I'm good with it.
Midnight, because we're on Eastern time.
Yeah. So
You
we'll
know,
just do
Not a
yours.
sound. Midnight. Not a sound from the pavement.
Yeah.
there is that. But that's a dog, not a
Thanks.
cat.
I'm good with that. Thank you for pointing that out.
I'm so sorry.
No, 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 no. I appreciate it. You have no idea. I'm good with that.
So just to loop you guys in real quick, we try to make sure we have all permissions for anybody that helped us write anything, because sometimes people suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Drunk Tank Tears Can't Hang the Moon Behind Your Eyes by me, Pretty Bird. And it's kind of vignettes, so those are my long pauses. I tend to not count them because I can't with the intermittent numbers. Anyways, again, this is Drunk Tank Tears Can't Hang the Moon Behind Your Eyes by me, Pretty Bird. Breaking dawn over my knee won't drag the moon higher, and pre-dawn silence lives the answer as the earth changes shifts. I drink my tears, desiccating my heart. If I dry it out, maybe feeling will cease, like the drunk tank can save an alcoholic, but it might by a minute or two. You look for me in shadows or from shadows, like out of sight will ever be out of mind, but you only find me behind your eyes. They say a shot of time heals better than a shot of whiskey. They say a lot of things, but they have never burned moonlight with energy that makes time stand still. And the answer to everything wishing to break dawn just to drag the moon higher. End poem.
Oh, first off, there's so many lines in here that I love. Um, oh, like a drunk tank can save an alcoholic, but it might buy you a minute or two. You look for me in shadows or from shadows, like out of sight will ever be out of mind. Isn't that the truth? They say a shot of whiskey heals better, or a shot of time heals better than a shot of whiskey. I don't know about that,
Oh,
but
they
maybe.
say a lot of things.
Yeah, they do say a lot of things. They say a lot of things because coping mechanisms don't always work, but you keep trying anyway. Those old wise tales that say, if you do this, this might take away the pain, but it never does. You know,
It does
you
for an old
never,
wife.
you just, have you ever burned moonlight with energy that makes you stand still? Oh, no, never. It's really, it's a meditation on pain because you're just emotionally exhausted. You know, you just, and I mean, I just love this. you have to focus, somewhere inside of you to get the right answers. You're just going to keep guessing on what's going to heal you. But until you find out what's inside, you ain't going to heal. You ain't going to feel heal until you figure it out. No matter how many shots of whiskey or how many shots of time you or old wise tale you're looking at. If
Well,
I
some
dry it
pains
out,
will
maybe
never
you'll be
heal.
well with peace, you know. But keep looking at the moon because sometimes that just feels better than looking at inside yourself, and I really really enjoyed that. So Raconteur, your thoughts?
If you're looking at the moon and you see an old wives' tale, does that mean the man in the moon has a beard? Anyway,
He just has cheese.
okay.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Um, well, yeah, I'm glad you got that. Again, the way you pour yourself out onto the page, is always um. There's a word that I'm fishing for that
Similar to
jarring. It makes you realize things that or look at things in a way that you a lot of people don't normally look at them or wouldn't probably look at them in the first place when they hear the emotion behind what you're saying and the way that you're saying it, sometimes with sarcasm or sometimes just with exasperation. Either way, what you're saying is like it hits. And you have a 2-ton club that you swing that you don't know that you're swinging it, and that's why your arms are always hurt. Because you really tend to just when you pour things out, you do it in a way that's plaintive and undeniable. And I always appreciate it. I love reading you. I love listening to you read. It's yeah, com- it's comforting in its pain.
there you go. There's something to be said about meeting somebody who um, kind of fills your energy with their energy. And it's not always a synergistic experience, but when it is, it's not something that you will ever forget. And it's something that you tend to always look for. And it's unfortunate when there's distance and circumstance, but out of sight is never out of mind. And I mean, we can only do what we can do, and it's unfortunate, but you don't
Yes,
walk
that
away
shot of
from
whiskey.
that. Seriously, 3 fingers deep.
I remember that one.
What's funny is, um, I don't know that people pour by fingers much these days. You know, everything is a shot or a jigger, which is what, an ounce and an ounce and a half, and they have their little measuring things and yada yada blah blah blah. No, sweetie, where's the fat guy with sausage fingers? Let him pour my drinks. I
they,
cannot
they go
have a little scrawny bartender with little girl hands, because if I
they,
want three
they
fingers, those aren't the fingers I want.
they go by the bubble. They go by the noise that it makes when they pour it. So that
Listen,
they
I haven't met
each
an
eat,
old
eat.
school bartender like that in a long time.
Yeah.
And that bubble depends on the tip. Sweet Jesus, we sound
Yes.
like we're talking about sex.
Aren't we?
I mean, 3 fingers is 3 fingers. I said nothing. So, announcements?
Announcements. It is time for our announcements. Yes.
All right. So, on Tuesday, in all of my dry wit, it is, and it's not my fault, you're stupid. So on any given day, people surprise us, whether it's with kindness, rudeness, intelligence, or stupidity. However, it is the stupidity, often wrapped in entitlement, that permeates deep and dances on that last nerve. They always seem to blame everyone else for their thoughtlessness or mistakes. The bottom line is, that's not my fault. You're stupid.
And on Thursday is back to school. Back to school for all those kids that kept you on your toes all summer. Time to breathe and take a moment for yourself, or is it? Between helping with homework assignments, making cookies for the class, and all those extra after school expectations, can you enjoy the solitude of your own company? That is on Thursday. And of course, you can find us at prettysweet.podbean.com for all of our previous conversations. And be sure to check out some of those side pieces that Pretty Bird and I do at PRTTYSWEET. Follow those red shoes and you'll find us everywhere. You can listen to us live on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube. You can listen to us everywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or Podbean, and many, many others. So just follow, like, and share. Leave us your opinions on our opinions. Give us a heart or any comment, be it love or even hate. We'd love to have your feedback. So please follow us, talk to us. We're always, got something out there. So tonight, we had a wonderful time, and we hope that you did too. But if you did not, you can, of course. Fuck.
Fuck all the way all.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.